I guess what's your evaluation been so far? I mean, you're about 3 weeks, a month in. What kind of progress have you seen that you've liked, and where are some areas that you want your guys to continue getting better at?
Yeah, I think I don't think you're ever going to be where you want to be, but we certainly made a good amount of progress. I think that the two things when you come in, you try to evaluate the roster. What are the needs? And there's certain things that we do from a physical perspective to try to jump in and find weaknesses and flaws in these guys. Okay, and that's through the roster, and you're going to find that anywhere you go. But you kind of gauge, okay, what do we need with this group of guys? Because it's not the same everywhere. It would be different. What we got to do is we got to get more explosive, and that can't just be a word we throw out there because it's a good tag word that everybody uses. We got to go measure that, and we got to find out what it is, and we measure it, and it's called peak power, and we measure it in watts. And it's basically in the long term, it's the load they have on a bar and how fast they move it, and it gives us a number. And that number means a lot to us, okay, because it gives us a true measure of explosive power. So we measure that over the course of all the things, like all the stuff you saw us doing in today was all being measured off of our 3D camera system that we have up there. So as we progress through that, and I can tell you we're an average anywhere from 20 to 30% increase in power output from the day we got here till now, and that's a great increase. It's not where we need to be, it's not where we'll be in August, but that's where we're at right now. The guys have been really coachable. I've been very happy with that. Everything we've thrown at them, we've really challenged them. They've been receptive and kind of took on the challenge and have given their best effort, going through, which has been nice.
You mentioned measuring things like explosiveness. I mean, do you divide up the players by group as far as maybe areas like explosiveness or other areas they need to work on? I guess.
Yeah.
How does that work?
Without getting too technical, what you saw at the end right there, you saw guys going to specific areas. Okay. Not just by testing the explosive power is one piece of it. There's another piece that we do that's measuring how these guys fire from a muscle perspective, okay? And how they fire will determine what group they go to, because we know this is one of the things we dove into at IMG in a lot, because you basically have it's like a lab down there you get to deal with, and so we spent the better part of almost a calendar year refining this, and we know in this firing system, whatever shows for us, again, without getting too specific, we know what a specific flaw is, and we know what exercises go target that flaw to go help fix them, to help get that firing, if that makes sense. Okay? And what you'll see, there's 2 exercises per group, as you saw at the end right there. So whatever their flaw was in a firing, that's where they went. Okay? And then within the workout, if there's a certain explosive thing that's showing up from a certain exercise, specifically single leg stuff, which we're targeting at a high rate right now. Okay, because single leg exercise is the highest transfer out to the football field, not just sprinting, but changing direction and keeping guys healthy. It's a huge correlation. So you saw us, and one of the things we did today was a single leg exercise where we were tracking that. So you look at ratio from right to left, and you look at where they're at on the scale from power, how much power they're putting out. I know what a high level offensive lineman at the collegiate level is supposed to put out. I know what the linebacker is supposed to put out. And I've had NFL guys at IMG. I know where those levels are. So you can help, set the gauges for the guys. Okay, here's where you're at. Here's where we need to be if we really want to be good. And here's where you need to be if you want to be special. So that's kind of what we're in the process of right now. So they're finding out, okay, here's the bar for good. Here's where I'm at. Okay, I got to go get this thing.
And what do those bars look like? Is it a certain amount of wattage like you talked
about
about
wattage,
earlier?
Yeah. So it's what we call peak power. So we're measuring peak power, which is in watts. And there's a number for everything we do, and there's a range, okay? If you want to be average, this is your range. You want to be above average, this is your range. You want to be special, this is your range. So, and that's kind of what we're going after right now. So we spent the last 6 weeks now getting up and kind of starting our guys off and then getting a base. And now the last couple weeks we're throwing it at them. Okay, well now here's where it's at. You really want to be good. Here's where the levels are. Here's what these guys are doing. That you want to be. So it helps give them a concrete number to go after. It's a great motivational tool. It's a great tool for us because it lets us. All these numbers dictate programming. It's not the days where I just throw a blanket program out for everybody to do are gone. They should be gone. It's what is the numbers telling us, and what do we have to go do to fix them, and how do we make that work within the hour that we have them? And it won't look the same for everybody. It's not supposed to look the same for everybody. There'll be pieces that are here, pieces there that may not be the same, but holistically, we're attacking the things that we got to attack to make us better. And it's an ongoing thing. It's no magic for 6 weeks plan. It's a process, but we know this process works. We just got to run its course.
Forgive a stupid question, but 3D camera system.
Yeah.
What does that involve?
It's an elite form system. So we had it down there and had it up in South Bend. So so if there's two cameras, say this is a camera, here's a camera above it. One of the cameras getting anything behind the rack. We saw us doing our hang cleans behind today. One of the cameras getting anything that happens inside the rack, if that makes sense. There's a laser that comes out, tracks onto the bar, so it measures how fast the bar's moving. And not just the distance covered, but how fast it's moving. So you put the load into the system, how fast it's moving, how much distance it covered, gives you a peak power number. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it spits it out. So every single rep you saw our guys do today, we have numbers on everything. And that's where, I'll sit down, we get done at 1 o'clock or whatever today, me and Doc will sit down for 2 hours looking at these numbers, 2-3 hours, and then that's what drives programming for thereafter. Not just Thursday and Friday, but the following week and the week after that.
Is that related to those tablets that are on top of it?
Yeah, so those are iPads on, so what they do is they go log in, they'll touch the pad, their name comes up, so it's already pre-programmed. The weight's in there programmed for my percentage from me, so I program. So all they do is literally tap the screen, it tells them what to do. There's no thinking on their end, it tells them what to do and they move the bar as fast as they can. So I handle the programming because I know what desired stimulus we want to get that day depending on what the other numbers have shown us, if that makes sense to you.
Any outstanding performers? I mean, I saw Harry.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. It's funny when you get into this because it's fun when you come into an environment where you don't know anybody. I didn't know anybody in the roster. I knew a couple of guys by name, but you don't really know them in depth. And then you get a fresh look at it. And you go train and then you put your training system upon guys and you see what happens. A guy like him who, he threw up some big numbers a day. He's responded very well, and a lot of them have, and I hate throwing out guys, but, here's what I'll say. In this conference, what I know, and what I knew the first day I stepped foot back here was I better fix the guys up front, offense and defensive line. And that's where exhaustively I've spent my time attacking these guys in the weight room and making sure that every single thing is on point. So our guys up front on both sides of the ball, offensive line, defensive line, have been awesome. I was around a good group last year, a really good group, and our group here reminds me of them a lot in mentality, the way they attack the weight room every day. You can tell they want to be good, and they're hungry to absorb the things that we're giving them. It's just you got to let the process come through and let it take its course, and it will. It's just it takes time, like everything else. But really happy with the guys up front on both sides, and you got, we got there's 93 guys in right now, and every single day, all those guys come in, they work their butts off. It's been a really good environment, which you saw that today in that group. I mean, everybody drenched in sweat, and they walk out of here, and some days they limp out of here, some days they crawl out of here. But today, they walked out, and it was good work. It was good work.